Hello students, welcome to this physics analysis JEE main test 65. First of all, thanks all of you for your love and support. The channel has crossed the 1000 subscriber mark, so that's the first milestone achieved in just a month. So thanks for sharing the channel, keep doing it. Now for this paper, 6 questions I have regarded as easy, 16 were medium and 3 were tough. And one I have taken Zener diode one to be tough because it is tough to answer you looking at the data, because the data don't give the usual answer, so you have to be smart enough. So this is a regular JEE main paper. Again, I won't regard it as very tough but not easy also. It's just a medium level difficulty. So again, anyone with slight confidence in physics should get 55 or 60 plus, and a very good student, again I say, I'm saying, who is actually looking for top ranks in advanced should get at least 85 plus in this particular paper. So let's start. A proton is fired from very far away towards a nucleus with this charge. Okay, it makes the closest approach of 10 femtometer. The de Broglie wavelength in femtometer of the proton at its start is, and you are given these data. So first of all, from that basic analysis, what I can say, proton's initial energy is converted into the potential energy, that would be equal to K Q1 Q2 by R minimum, because at closest distance the speed is 0. So the kinetic energy that I can write is this is K, whatever I can say, this is the K. Now de Broglie wavelength is h by p, h upon root 2m kp, that you can write. So that would be h upon under root of, if I do this and I take everything in under root, I suppose it would be h square upon 2m kp, means k q1 q2, and there goes r minimum. Okay, so taking okay, h you take out, let's say take out would be better thing, 6.63 into 10 to the power minus 34, and let me have the root over complete thing. R min is given as 10 femto, that is 10 into 10 to the power minus 15. 2m, m is given as what it is given as. Okay, you are given the value of h by e, so I should not take it out. Write it at h square only, here only. Put it h square only. M is what? 5 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 27. K is 9 and 10 ki power 9. Q1 Q2 would be 120 e square. So I am given the value of h by e. I'll take it out. It is 4.2 into 10 to the power minus 15. Now what we are left with? 10 to the power minus 14 above, and what we have here, this will be 3 and 3, 3 2s are 6, 5s are 30, 30 into 120 into 10 to the power 9 and minus 27. If I do that is minus 18, I can write. So that is 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 2 goes up, so 4.2 into 10 to the power minus 3, that would be the answer here. Not minus 3, here minus 13, sorry, upon 30 into 120, that I can write at 3600, so take it out. It would be 4.2 into 10 to the power minus 13 upon 60. So in fact minus 13, where I am writing 15. Okay, so what it becomes 420 upon 60 femtometer, which is exactly 7 femtometer. So calculation is simplified for you. You have to just put the values carefully, you will get the result. So it's a calculative one slightly. Now the second one. 12 kg bomb at rest explodes into two pieces, 4 and 8. If the momentum of 4 kg is this, the kinetic energy of the 8 kg pieces. Similar question was in the NEET test today. So what we will have, the momentum of 4 kg, we know the momentum of both will be same, so momentum of 8 kg will also be 20, and we know P is equal to K is equal to P square by 2m. So kinetic energy I can directly write as K is P square by 2m. So P square is 20 into 20 upon 2m, that is 2 into 8. So what it comes out? It comes out, this is 10, this is 8. So what we have, this is 5, this is 2, this is 5, this is 25 joules. So go for option A. Again, not a tough one, you can do. Now next one. A block of mass small m is placed at the top of a smooth wedge ABC. Okay, so no friction. The wedge is rotated about an axis through C. The minimum value of omega for which the block doesn't slip. So for the block doesn't slip, let's say view it in frame of incline. So in frame of wedge or in frame of incline, whatever you write, because it is rotating like this distance we know would be equal to L cos theta, that is the radius. So it would be the, what we say, the centrifugal pseudo force that we need to apply. There will be one normal and there will be one mg. So because it doesn't slip, that means the component of these two along the incline must balance each other. So this component you know is mg sin theta, and that component, because of this angle being theta, would be FCF cos theta. So FCF cos theta is equal to mg sin theta. And what is FCF? That is m omega square r. R is L cos theta, I told you, into cos theta is equal to mg sin theta. So the value of omega comes out as mg, let's say cancel first, so it is g by L sin theta upon cos square theta under root. That is what we are getting. So based on the above options, it would be option A, because 1 upon cos theta will come out and 1 upon cos theta is sec of theta. So not that tough question. Next, a wire of length L tapers uniformly from N to P to Q with diameter at P twice of that at Q. The potential difference is applied across the ends, which graph represents the variation of drift velocity of the electrons, connection electrons with distance x. So what do you know? The current is always going to be same, and because current is same, we write I is equals to NEA VD. Because it is the same conductor, these two factors are same, so what we have, A into VD is constant. So the VD variation would be inverse to A, or you can say VD would be inverse to, what you can say, it is 1 by R square or diameter square, whatever you can write. So what I can write this, because it is uniformly varying, I can write this radius as a distance. It would be varying as, let's say, initial to R naught, and it tapers with x, and at L it becomes R naught. So you can write the equation at any x, the radius would be R. So what would be the equation of this line? You can directly write it, let's say taking this point as x comma R. So writing it, what you will get, you can write R minus 2R naught upon x minus 0 would be equal to the slope. Slope would be what you will have, this is slope, you can write it as R naught minus 2R naught upon L. So this is the value we'll get. So R minus 2R naught upon x is equal to minus R naught by L. So R comes out as 2R naught minus R naught x by L. So R is varying inverse with x, so you can have it like something upon A minus bx whole square. So the velocity would be like 1 upon A minus bx whole square. That means as x increases, this denominator keeps on decreasing. So denominator decreases, therefore the drift velocity will increase, but it won't be a linear one. So it should increase, not decrease, not a linear one, not a linear one. So we are left with only one choice, that is option D. You can directly make it out. Okay, next. What we have next, a conducting wire AB. You are given the conducting wire AB of length L, resistance R, and mass M starts sliding at t equal to 0 down a smooth vertical thick pair of perfectly conducting rails. A uniform field exists in the space perpendicular to plane of the rails. What would be the final constant speed? So in the constant final speed, you know mg must be equal to the magnetic field force, which you know as BIL, and I is E by R. So resistance is small r, so I should write it not as capital R, I should write it as small r. So E by R into L. And what is E? You know is BVL. So that is BVL upon R into L, that is equal to mg. So the V would be equal to mgr upon B square L square. That should be the value. So going by the options, it is option number A, I can see. Next one. Two spheres of electric charges 2 Newton plus 2 and minus 8 nanocoulomb are placed at a distance d apart. They are allowed to touch each other. What is the new distance between them to get a repulsive force of same magnitude? So initially what we have, force as k into 2 into 8 upon d square, whatever be the distance. Now when I touch them, the total charge is minus 6, so they will get minus 3 and minus 3. So now the force is k into 3 into 3. So for the same magnitude, let's say it is d dash square. So what you will have, comparing 16 by d square should be equals to 9 by d dash square. So d dash square comes out as 9 by 16 of d square. So d dash comes out to be 3d by 4. Go for option C. Now the next one. The motion of a body falling from rest in a resistive medium is described by this equation. Okay, the velocity at any time. So we are given a differential equation. I can write dv upon, taking v term here, equals to dt. So it starts falling, that means at 0 the speed is 0. Let's say at time t it becomes v. So if I do this, and the integration will give me minus 1 by b ln of a minus bv upon, when we put 0 it would be a, equals to t. So 1 minus b by av would be equal to e to the power minus bt. So v comes out as a upon b, 1 minus e to the power minus bt. So simple differential equation you have to solve. We are getting option B here. Next, a solid sphere of uniform density and radius r applies a gravitational force of attraction equal to F1 on a particle at a distance 3r. Okay, now a cavity is made out. The sphere with the cavity now exerts a force F2, you have to find the force. So first of all, what would be F1? F1 would be G small m, that is the particle placed at A, into, let's say, capital M is the total mass. So G m upon 3r whole square. Okay. Now, if the m is the total mass, what would be the mass removed? The mass of the cavity MC would be equals to, what I can say, because it is proportional to volume, so its r by 2 means volume is 1 by 8, so it would be m by 8, because its volume is 1 by 8, because radius is r by 2. So because of this cavity, the force due to cavity would be, because cavity center is this distance will become 3r minus r by 2, that is 2.5r. So that would be Gm m by 8 into 2.5r whole square. So now the remaining sphere will exert force F2, that would be equals to, no need to put the vector sign because all the forces are in same direction here. So F2 would be F1 minus Fc. So that is Gmm I can take as common, that would be 1 upon 3r whole square minus 1 upon 8 into 2.5r whole square. That is what we have got. So what would be the ratio? The ratio of F2 by F1 would be this Gmm thing gets cancelled. So this F2, this will become 1 upon 3r whole square minus 1 upon 8 into 2.5r whole square divided by 1 upon 3r whole square. So if I simplify this, what I will get, I'll take the LCM, that 3r square thing will get cancelled. So what we'll have here, 8 into 2.5r whole square, or we can write that r square, the thing also goes down, so no need to write it. We can simply write 8 into 2.5 whole square minus 3 square upon 8 into 2.5 whole square. That is what we will get. So it is 1 minus 3 square, which is 9, into 8 2.5 whole square, that is 25 by 4 I can write. So it is 2. So 1 minus 9 by 50, so it comes out as 41 by 50. So as per the available, yes, this is the option we have, this is B. So again a calculative one based on the cavity concept, that you must have done such profiles, not exactly same, but profiles must have been done by you. Next, black body emits at the rate P when temperature is T. At this temperature, wavelength of maximum intensity is lambda naught. If at another temperature T dash, power is P dash and wavelength is lambda naught by T. We know from the Wien's law lambda mt is constant. So this is getting half, means temperature is getting doubled. So if temperature is getting doubled, the power is proportional to T to the power 4, so that will get 32 times. So what we have, P dash will be equals to 16 times 2 to the power 4, that is equal to 16 times P, and the new T dash would be equals to 2T. So if I have to do that, P dash T dash, P dash T dash would be equal to 32 times the PT. So as per the option A is the appropriate one. Now go for the 10th one. Diatomic ideal gas is used in a Carnot engine as the working substance. Okay, if during the adiabatic expansion part of the cycle the volume increases from V to 32V, the efficiency of the engine is. So first of all, diatomic ideal gas, Carnot engine we are given, and during the adiabatic expansion. So during the adiabatic expansion it goes from TH to TC, you know. So in the adiabatic process, what we have, TV to the power gamma minus 1 is constant, so TH into V to the power, because it is diatomic, gamma is 7 by 5 minus 1 would be 2 by 5. That would be equal to TC into 32V to the power 2 by 5. So from here the value of TC by TH comes, it comes out as 1 upon 32 ki power 2 by 5. So 1 upon 32 is 2 ki power 5, so it would be 1 upon 2 square, that is 1 by 4. So efficiency is 1 minus TC by TH for a Carnot engine, that is 1 minus 1 by 4 is 3 by 4. So I'll go for option 0.75, 3 by 4 is 0.75. Now the next one. A long, thin, non-conducting cylindrical pipe of radius capital R carries a uniform charge density sigma rotating about its axis with a constant angular speed omega. The energy density of the magnetic field inside the tube is. I know the value of the magnetic field intensity, energy density, I know is equal to B square by 2 mu naught. So it will basically act as a solenoid. Because of this rotation, current will flow. And what current is going to flow? First of all, the current is equal to what we typically write, Q by T. T is T pi by omega. So this is Q omega by 2 pi. And what is Q? Q is, now instead of I am interested in Ni thing. And this Ni thing, if I have to write, this is current per unit length. So I can write this as charge per unit length into omega by 2 pi. That will work for me. And charge per unit length, you know, is sigma into that curved area. That is would be equal to 2 pi RL omega by 2 2 pi. So this 2 pi goes, divided by L goes. So this Ni terms is basically sigma omega r. This is very important. So the field inside would be mu naught Ni. So instead of Ni, I can write now, what I can write, this would be mu naught sigma omega r. So the energy density now becomes mu naught square sigma square omega square r square upon 2 mu naught. So this mu naught goes, and now we are left with the choice. With choice, we are left with r to the power 2, not r to the power 4. So clearly see, this is not A, this is B, that is we can go for. Now the next one. So it's a good question, you need to get that Ni thing. A horizontal smooth platform square ABCD is moving towards the right with a speed v. Okay, at what angle theta must a particle slide from A on the platform with speed u so that it strikes the point B? Assume u to be uniform and u to be greater than b. So here you are assuming it to be horizontal, you won't be taking any gravity effect. So it has to strike so that it strikes the point B. So for it to strike the point B, it means by the time for striking B, it means definitely the velocity of B horizontal and the A horizontal must be same. That is what you need to make sure. So what you may need to make sure, that means the distance covered by this, what is the speed u? U is the speed with respect to whom? Okay, speed is also with respect to ground. So what you need to remember, simply u cos theta should be equals to v. That is for sure. That then only in the distance traveled by it along x-axis would be u cos theta t, and by this also vt, then only they can meet. So that means cos theta is equal to v by u. So theta is cos inverse v by u. So it's not that tough one which was looking initially by reading the question. Simply you have to make sure for them to strike, the horizontal velocities must be this horizontal, or what you can say, not horizontal, I am assuming complete, the x component of the velocities must be same here. Next, a block is kept on a smooth incline at an angle of 30 degree that moves with constant acceleration so that the block doesn't slide relative to the inclined plane. Let F1 be the contact force between the block and the plane, and the inclined plane stops. Let F2 be the contact force between the two. Now what you need to find out, you need to find out the ratio of F1 is to F2. Okay, so here it is talking of the contact force because it is smooth, so it is simply normal reaction. So in the first case, when it is not sliding with respect to it, let's assume like this, so it must be going with an acceleration a like this. So that would be the pseudo force ma in the frame of it, that is mg, and that is n. So what we had, we can directly write mg sin theta must be equals to ma cos theta. That is the question you must have done. So acceleration is g tan theta. Now what is the normal? This n1, you write this as n1 would be equal to ma, what I can write, sin theta, because this angle is theta, so the component opposite to is ma sin theta plus mg cos theta. And what is a is g tan theta. So g tan theta, that becomes sin square theta upon cos theta plus mg cos theta. So what do you get? Mg sin square theta plus mg cos square theta upon what we have, cos theta, that becomes mg sec theta, that is because sin square plus cos square is 1, this is mg sec theta. And in the second case, when the incline is not moving, you know that n2 is mg cos theta. So if I do this, the ratio of n1 by n2, that would be simply comes out as 1 upon cos square theta for short, because this is 1 upon sec theta, 1 upon cos square theta. Cos square 30, you know, would be 3 by 4, so that comes out to be 4 by 3. So go for option B. Next one, particle starts SHM from the mean. Okay, its amplitude is a, total energy at one instant, kinetic energy is 3 by 4. That means potential energy would be equals to E by 4, and potential energy is half kx square, and total energy I can write it as half k a square. So what we have, x square is a square by 4, so x is equal to plus minus a by 2. So we'll go for the option B. This is one of the easiest one from the SHM part. Now next one, on a photosensitive material, when the frequency of incident radiation is increased by 30%, kinetic energy of photoelectrons increases from 0.4 to 0.9. The work function is, so initially when the frequency is h nu, so the h nu minus phi is equal to 0.4 eV, that is written, and increasing 30% it becomes 1.3 h nu minus phi is 0.9 eV. So now we have to find the work function. So what we can do, we can have this from the above one, h nu is 0.4 plus phi, 1.3 h nu is equal to 0.9 plus phi, so divide them, 1.3 would be 0.9 plus phi upon 0.4 plus phi. So what you get, 1.3 into 0.4 plus 1.35 is equal to 0.9 plus phi. So taking this here, 0.35 would be 0.9 minus 13 fours are 52, that is minus 0.52. Write it clearly. So let's say it is minus 0.52. So this is 0. What we will left with 38. So phi would be 0.38 upon 0.3, that is 38 by 3. Oh sorry, 3.8 by 3, that would be 1.2 something. So it would be option B. That is what we can make it out. Next. When a metallic wire is held under a tensile force F1, the length is L1. When it is changed to F2, the length is L2. The original length is, this is a very common question. We done it before also. So what is, let's say, original length be L. So in the first case, L plus delta L1 is given as L1. In the second, L plus change in length delta L2 is L2. We know delta L is FL upon AY. So for the first one, this delta L1, I can write it as L1 minus L is equal to F1 L by AY. Similarly, in the second case, delta L2 is L2 minus L is equal to F2L upon AY. And now divide them, this will be cancelled, this L will be cancelled, and you simplify this. You must have done this, I know this, F1L2 minus F2L1, या F2L1 minus F1L2 upon F1 minus F2, that the result will come. You can make it out. Next. Zener diode of Zener breakdown voltage 10 volt is connected as shown in figure. Current through the Zener is, now because this is 10 volts, so this is also 10 volts because in parallel, so this would be 2 volts. That you can make it out. So 2 volts means this current I1, this I1 current would be 2 upon 500, or I can write it as 2000 upon 500 milliampere. So it is 4 milliampere. Okay. Now because this is 10 volt, the current through the diode you have to find out. Okay. So current through the diode, now it would be a tricky one. How can I find the current through the Zener diode? Let me check the current through this. So current through this would be, let's say I2, that would be equals to 10 upon 1500, that is 10,000 upon 1500, it goes 100 by 15, it is greater than 4. So this is impossible here. It means there is some issue here. It is not possible to solve. So it means that this voltage is not exactly 10, it is not at its breakdown voltage, so it would be almost zero current would be flowing, that is what we can say. So go for the zero option here, nothing else I can do. Next one. Water flows out of a big tank along a tube bent at right angles. The inside radius of the tube is half centimeter. The length of the horizontal section of the tube is 22 centimeter. The water flow rate Q is this. Find the moment of reaction force of flowing water acting on the tube walls relative to the point Q. To the point Q? The point Q is not seen. I think it is talking about the point. Which point? I don't know. It would be, let's say, O only. Nothing else can be done. So first of all, what happens? The water comes here and it goes here. So the momentum changes by 90 degree, assuming because area is same, the speed will be same. So momentum change would be 2 times P. So delta P, I can write it as root 2P. What I can say, magnitude only, because we do not bothered about the direction. It would be root 2 times P, and P is equal to what we can write. P is what we can have mv. We can write, now we first of all we need to have the force. So the force acting would be, is dp by dt or delta p by delta t. So delta p is root 2p upon delta t. So delta p by delta t, I can write it as root 2p. I can write it as delta m by delta t into v, and delta m by delta t, you are given the volumetric flow rate. So delta m by delta t would be what I can say, rho dv by dt into v. That is what I can write here, rho dv by dt into v. That is I can write. So this would be the force. So first let me calculate this force, and this force I can easily make out. This is P final, this minus P initial would be this. So this force would be acting like this at 45 degree, like this. This would be the F. So magnitude is root 2 into rho. Water is 10 to the power 3. You all remember this. Okay, you have to write in rho only because question doesn't talk of the numerical value. So rho, and dv by dt is what I can say Q, and this is what I can say, this is what we have, this is V. This is the value of V. So value of V I can write it as Q by A. So V I can write as Q by A because the volumetric flow rate is A into V. So let me rewrite it. Remove this V. This will become Q by A. A is pi r square. So this is what we have got now. This is the force. Now the torque. Because this force acts like this, so this component will produce no torque, only this component will produce torque, and that would be 1 by root 2 times. So torque would be 1 by root 2 times of this F multiplied by this length L. So that root 2 goes. So rho Q square L upon what we have, pi r square. This is what we are getting. So this is option A I can tick for. So it's a good question. Now next one. Bus is moving with velocity 5 towards a huge wall. Driver sounds a horn. If the speed is this, the number of beats heard per second by a passenger inside the bus is. Okay, so this is an interesting question. This is a bus, this is a wall. So bus is going with speed Vb. So first of all, what is the frequency received by wall? So frequency received by wall, if I can say, is F naught, because wall is stationary, source is moving, that is V minus Vb. Now the same frequency is reflected back. Now this will be source and this will be observer. So frequency of the reflected sound heard would be frequency of wall, because observer is moving, it would be V plus Vb upon V. So that is F naught. If I do that, it becomes V plus Vb upon V minus Vb. So now the passenger in the bus, he once hears this direct noise in the direct frequency, which is 165, and second one is the reflected one. So the beats heard would be this Fr minus F naught, because these are the two frequencies he is hearing. So that is F naught common V plus Vb upon V minus Vb minus 1. So what we have, F naught is 165. So what we have, 335 plus 5, that is 340. This is 330 minus 1, 34 by 33 minus 1, that is what you will get, 1 by 33, and 33 5 is 165, you know, that is 5 hertz. So not a tough question, you have done such question, and this is the same similar example you have in your NCERT even. Next one. A uniform chain of length L, mass M, overhangs a horizontal table with 2/3 part on the table. Okay, so let me draw it. 2/3 is on table and 1/3 is down. Okay, the friction coefficient is mu. The work done by friction during the period the chain slips off the table. So when it slips off the table, what is the work done by the friction? So simply what I can say, let's assume X part is over the table, X length is over the table, then what we can say, the normal reaction would be equal to total mass M by L into X into G. So the friction Fk would be mu K mgx by L. So the work done would be, in a small displacement, would be minus sign. I'll adjust, just I'm calculating the magnitude, it would be Fk dx. So whole work done would be given by integration, that is mu K mgx by L dx, and the x vary from 2L by 3 to 0. So if I calculate, it will come out to mu K mg L. X integration is x square by 2, so that will be 2L by 3 whole square by 2, and negative sign I can directly put because I know the work will be negative. So this would be 4 by 9 divided by 2, so it would be 2 by 9 minus 2 by 9 mu K mg L. So it's a simple question, simple because you have done such type of question. It's not exactly simple, but simple if you have done such questions before now. So this covers SOT. Now we go for the subjective numericals. Block of 12 gram of radioactive element is placed in a room of this half-life is 15 years. After how many years it will just be 1.5 gram. So 12 to 1.5. You can directly say that is 12 by 8. 8 means you require 3 half-lives. 3 half-life means you require 45 years. So answer is 45. So it's a very easy one you can do without picking up the pen. Next. Photographic camera with a lens of focal length 5 is used for capturing images. Okay. Vertical length of the film used is 24 mm, in which image of a 1.68 meter tall man is to be captured. Find the minimum distance of the man from the lens such that his complete image can be obtained. Okay. So 1.68, you have to compress it into 24 mm. So the magnification would be, I can say, is 0.024. I can write upon 1.68. So if I write it, it would be 24. If I know 24, 120, 168, it is 7. So it would be, let's say I can write it as 24 upon 1680. So it is 1 upon 70. So magnification of 1 by 70 is basically needed, and because we are talking of the real images, it would be minus. I can put up magnification is minus 1 by 70. So minimum distance of the man from the lens such that his complete image can be captured. So what we know, so magnification formula here is f upon f plus u, and that would be minus 1 by 70. So 70f would be equal to minus of f plus u. So what you will have, u would be equals to what I can write, it would be minus 71 f I can write. So 71 into 5, so this is 355, so 3.55 meter I can go for, because 71 into 5, focal length is 5 centimeter. Okay, so 10 to the power minus 2, so the 3.55 meter, 355 centimeters I can go for. So that is how you have to do this. Next, uniform rod AB, length L, mass M, is undergoing rotation about a fixed axis passing through end A and perpendicular such that end A remains stationary. Okay, kinetic energy of the section AP of the rod is equal to the kinetic energy of the section BP of the rod at an instant. What is the value of AB upon AP whole cube? Okay, so what we have, perpendicular such that end A remains stationary. It is fixed axis through end A, and we have AP having equal to kinetic energy of BP. Okay, so let's assume this length is a small l. So for this particular section, what I can say, if I'm writing, because we know the linear speed will vary linearly, so I can write the speed of the CM of that particular part. So kinetic energy would be half m by capital L into small l, I can write, that is the mass, into V of CM type thing, that is omega L by 2 whole square, and that is equal to that AP is equal to BP. So for BP, if I do, and that means that you can say this is K, total would be 2K, so that is half of the total, and total would be half m into omega L by 2 whole square, because for the complete CM you have that speed is equal to omega L by 2 whole square. So what we get, this half m goes, so L by L into omega square L square by 4 is half into omega square L square by 4. This is what we are getting. So now omega square 4 goes, so L cube is 2L cube. So AB upon AP, that is what we were looking for. AB is L and AP is small l. So L by L whole cube, you can make it is equals to, sorry, it would be L by L whole cube would be equals to, what we are getting, I have done it wrong, because it cannot be, the bigger length cannot be smaller. There was a mistake in my solution, that was the result. So L by L whole cube would be equals to 2. So it's a good question, just apply the concepts, you will get it. So I've taken the CM thing and I'm gone by that. Next, water from a tap emerges vertically downwards with the speed cross section is this. If we assume that the pressure is constant throughout and the flow is steady, then the cross-sectional area of the stream 0.15 meter below the tap. So below the tap, the speed will become u square plus 2gh, because it would be in free fall. So u square is 1 plus 2 into 10 into 0.15. So 20 into 0.15, that is basically, this is what, 3 plus 1 4, that is 2 meter per second. So speed has doubled, so definitely what will happen, the area will become half, because A into V remains constant. So AV is constant, V has become double, so area will become half. So it will become 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 4, or you can say 5 into 10 to the power minus 5. So answer is 5, not a tough one. Next one. From a diffraction pattern of a single slit is obtained in a focal plane of the lens of focal length 1 meter. Okay, if the third minimum is formed at a distance of 5 mm from the central maxima and the wavelength is this, the width of the slit used is, we know the value of the third one. For the third one, we know A sin theta should be 3 lambda. So again, taking this a small approximation, it would be y by L equals to 3 lambda. So A comes out as 3 lambda L by y. So lambda is 5000, that is 5000 into 10 to the power minus 10, and this length is with the focal distance that we can talk about, that is the 1, and this y is given as 5 mm. So what we have, this is 10 to the power minus 7, 10 to the power minus 3, that is 10 to the power minus 4 into 3, 5 and 5 cancel. So the width of the slit would be 0.3 mm I can write. So go for option 0.3, we have to write it. So this was today's paper. Thanks for watching. Keep sharing the channel. Thank you once again.